Hi guys, how are you doing today? My review, my take, my reaction video to The Matrix Resurrections, the fourth Matrix movie. Now this movie, it's like the best B film you've ever seen. That would be the best way. Best B movie of all time, Matrix Resurrections. But strongly, that was gross. My lips were chapped. Anyway, sorry about that. But the best B movie of all time. Also, Matrix Resurrections, the other titles that Warner Brothers wanted to make it instead of Matrix Resurrections. The first title, of course, that got rejected, Zombies in Love. That didn't go so well. Then they came up with something else, How I Met Your Zombie. Because Neil Patrick Harris is in it, and that was the show that he was in. Now, okay, my review of How I Met Your Zombie. So, it's funny. It's probably the funniest Matrix movie. It's very funny. Put a lot of jokes in there, By the way, this review is gonna have spoilers, like crazy. So turn it off right now. Okay, so maybe we won't have spoilers, but anyway, so he's in it. Yes, Keanu Reeves is in it, and it's funny. He's pretty funny. He's gotten more funny over the years, so they make it kind of funny. Carrie-Anne Moss is in it, who's great. She's a fantastic actress, very underrated. I always felt she always has a scene like in a restaurant, in all her movies, including this one. It's just a random thing that I noticed. Now, this movie, what is there really to say about this movie? The whole thing could be like Keanu Reeves is just a paranoid schizophrenic. Like, they made it very clear at the beginning that, maybe that's just his character, Neo, whatever. Maybe he's just a paranoid schizophrenic. And then he stops. You could argue this movie is about what happens when a paranoid schizophrenic stops taking their medication. Maybe that's another title for this movie. Either Zombies in Love, How I Met Your Zombie, or Why a Schizophrenic Should Not Stop Taking Their Meds. Because the whole thing could just be he's psychotic. And, I don't know. Best B movie of all time. It's like, it's definitely not better than the first Matrix. It's definitely much better than the third one, Matrix Revolutions. Matrix Reloaded, it's maybe a little better than Matrix Reloaded, a little bit. My biggest problem with these movies, this movie, the fighting. When Keanu Reeves is fighting in this movie, maybe he doesn't feel like he can be as athletic as he was 20 years ago, which is probably true. The editing and the cuts, if you watch it, I think this is the biggest issue with this movie, is I think they use a lot of his stunt double, because the fighting, you never really see him as he's actually landing kicks or punches. It's weird. They kind of cut away, and you really only see the guy he's fighting with fighting. So it's like, it's kind of a bummer, because, but at the same time, it's like, no, he knows how to fight. Look at the John Wick movies. Those come out now, and he's a crazy fighter. So I don't really know why. It just seemed like there weren't as many shots as there should have been of Neo fighting, which is, and there are fight scenes, but the editing, go back and watch it again. It's on streaming. It's like they cut it in a way where, it doesn't, the fighting in Matrix Reloaded is better because of this. I'm very confused. This seems like a reboot. It seems very likely they're going to make sequels to this. But it's just odd. I think my biggest issue with this movie is, and maybe you could even argue with Reloaded and Revolutions, is a big focus on the love story between Neo and Trinity. And that's how it was in Reloaded and Resolutions. And now, the first Matrix, it was obvious she was into him, but, they don't really like embrace their love for each other in the first movie until the very last scene. And I think this is telling because nobody really gives a shit about this love story, you know? It's since Reloaded, it's been corny, a little hokey. Probably the worst scene in Reloaded was that like sex scene with them while everybody in Zion was drumming drums. It's like it's just odd. We don't really want to see an intense love story. We want to see people kicking ass. And like philosophical concepts. You know, people kicking ass, but in a way designed for hyper intellectuals, or a word I don't like using, but nerds. Like, we don't want to see the love story. I mean, it's weird. It's my lips are chapped. You should probably turn this off. It's pretty gross watching my lips chapped and then, it's disgusting. Just wipe it. It's gross. Anyway, so it's like we don't really want that. We just want to see people fighting in slow motion and bullet time. Now, the special effects in this movie are sick. Okay, they're sick, and there is a lot of slowed down bullet time kind of stuff, which is what The Matrix is known for. But I don't know. It seems odd, and then also, it's like they address the issue of how Matrix and Trinity are still alive, and they talk about how the war with the machines kind of changed, maybe, and the machines maybe became kind of friendly, but like, they don't really say, is there still a war? I guess there is, because how could there be conflict with no war? But you're kind of left hanging on like, how much of a war is there if there's some kind of peace between machines and humans, yet there's still a war? They never answer that question, really. They never really answer how Neo and Trinity are resurrected. You meet, Neil Patrick Harris, which is why my title of the movie, How I Met Your Zombie, seems appropriate. They address that he brought them back to life, Morpheus and Trinity, but like, they don't really say. They're just like, oh, he has resurrection pods that. So then all that makes it even seem more like, because it's vague, that maybe this whole thing is just in Neo's mind and he's crazy. Because they need to tell that. I mean, they need to explain exactly why they resurrected them, and they kind of do a little bit of that, but how? Like, what? Because without that, it really just seems like Lana Wachowski wanted to do another Matrix movie at any cost, and okay, there's an evil genius who knows how to resurrect people, and it's like, what? That's why I think it would be better if in the later movies it comes out that Keanu Reeves' character is just crazy. I think that would be more, because you need to go into that, right? You have to give a very strong reason if you're making a Matrix 4 of exactly how these two came back from the dead. Because I think this is why I just see it as a B movie, because without that, it just seems like Lana Wachowski needs some more money. And it's like, so, okay, fine, they're resurrected. No, I want to know exactly how they're resurrected. I want to know the process by which it happened. And I want to know the details, because it has to be a very good reason that makes me think that this new movie makes sense. And not that Lana Wachowski just needs to put a down payment on her new mansion. It's like, And do we really want to see more of this love story and that the whole thing? I don't know if we do. We just want to see people kicking ass and taking names and some philosophical concepts, and not like, I don't know. You know what I mean? You sense this confusion in my voice that's been there this whole review. That's why I think it's a B movie. Maybe it works better on the small screen through a streaming service. So maybe I'll watch it a streaming service. and then maybe well, then it will work better because How I Met Your Mother was on the small screen TV, so maybe this is meant to be watched on a small screen. How I Met Your Zombie. That's it. Okay, have a good day, everyone.